me give you another simple way to understand MicroStrategy. Let's say you're a real estate investor, and I take you to New York City, and I show you a building in New York City, and I say, hey, you can have this building for $1 billion. It's $1 billion of real estate on Central Park, and you believe in New York. Okay, would you like to buy it for cash? Okay, if you have $1 billion, yes. And then what if I said, you know, I have this publicly traded company and they're able to borrow the $1 billion for 62 basis points interest, no recourse, and buy the same portfolio. Would you buy a building if you paid 0.5% interest, no recourse, and if I gave you the loan, which of the two is a better investment? You see? Yeah. I mean, is there anything that you like that you wouldn't like better if you could borrow money for? MicroStrategy has, I think, $4 billion plus in debt at 82 basis points, less than 1% interest. So if you like Bitcoin, then buy the Bitcoin. You buy unlevered Bitcoin with cash. But what if you could buy $4 billion of Bitcoin and pay less than 1% interest? Well, I mean, it's not for everybody. There's a lot of volatility. You know, if you're a 4-month trader, or a 4-week trader, or a 4-day trader, like, I'm not giving you advice on calls, by the way, James. My investment advice, I'm not even telling you to buy MicroStrategy. My investment advice is buy Bitcoin, hold for more than 4 years with capital that won't be pulled away from you. All of these other, I'm definitely not telling you to short my stock with put options, but there's a lot of people that really seem to like that. I'm not, you know, so our job is we are securitizing a high volatility, high performance asset for institutional investors. And they want the options, they want the converts, they want the equity. There's a lot of reasons why they can't trade on crypto exchanges. MicroStrategy's benefited by being unique and doing the things that our investors can't do. And we do it in a very disciplined, responsible, prudent fashion. And, you know, one of the reasons why we're all Bitcoin is because the people that want to short Bitcoin want to know that we're not going to hedge or diversify our investment because they want to short it, right? They don't want me to say, oh, I made $1 billion trading gold options or trading any other meme coin or trading whatever, because, and this is a very fundamental principle of public companies, right? It's like that my investors are the ones that are diversifying and trading. Like if you've got a $10 billion portfolio and you want 1% Bitcoin exposure, you want the company that can borrow money cheap to buy Bitcoin to give you that exposure. You don't want a company run by a CEO that's going to change his trading strategy every month, because then that company you invested in is an opaque black box, and that will drive you crazy. I mean, part of our fiduciary obligation is, if you want to short $100 million of my stock, I need to be long for the same period you're short. Maybe you hate it and you're going to keep the short for 4 years. I need to be the opposite side of the trade for the 4 years, because I don't want to let you down. I don't, you know, like, you do what you're going to do. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. There's 50,000 publicly traded companies. An institutional investor can compose any portfolio with any risk, return, exposure, upside, downside, using a combination of equities and options and debt. And that's fine. That's their job. So we stay in our lane. And our lane is, we are long, levered Bitcoin. And we think that's enough. We think Bitcoin is going from $1 trillion to 10 trillion to 100 trillion. That means there's plenty of space for MicroStrategy to grow. And if we get diversified, it's like taking the laser eyes off. We lose focus. And not only does that make us more likely to fail, but also it means that we're not a clear, transparent, reliable instrument for all of our investors. They want to know what we're going to do, and that we're committed to doing it, because that allows them to take very decisive investment actions for their investors. And that's the respectful way to manage the public market.
Was Michael Saylor telling you why you should be invested into MicroStrategy? why institutions are looking to invest in MicroStrategy. And for the rest of the video, I'm going to get into why, if you're a Bitcoin maxi, if you hold Bitcoin, you should have some MicroStrategy in your portfolio, especially if you have your Bitcoin in an ETF. You may want to shift some of that ETF that you have into MSTR for good reason. I'll be going over that here today. And then also, the last time I made a video talking to you guys, there was a date that just passed that I said you should be really watching this date, because it will, in the short term, determine whether Bitcoin is bearish or bullish. So we'll be going over that in today's video. So stay tuned to the end. Like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. We have new videos coming out every single day. But we're going to start off looking at MicroStrategy. Over the past year, you can see it's up 180%. Well, this is year to date, while Bitcoin is only up 40% year to date. Go out over the past year, MicroStrategy is up 418%, while Bitcoin is only up 121%. And there's a thread that I'll be reading to you guys here in a second on Twitter that kind of talks about why this happens and why this is going to probably continue to outperform Bitcoin in the future, especially if Bitcoin stays bullish. So stay tuned for that. But MicroStrategy, they are looking to get $2 billion over the next couple of months to put that back into Bitcoin. So they're offering a at-the-market equity offering program for $2 billion, basically selling stock to increase the Bitcoin per share. And here's a thread I wanted to share with you guys. It explains what MicroStrategy is doing and why what they're doing is so powerful. So this is from Glenn Hoddle. Shout out to him. This may take a little bit of time, but this is a very powerful thread here on Twitter. So I just wanted to go over it with you guys really quickly, just to talk about MicroStrategy. There are fundamental differences between how companies are valued and how something like Bitcoin is valued. Commodities trade at the current price of what they're worth, while companies trade at a discount to their future value, which is really important with MicroStrategy. So if you believe Bitcoin will be worth more at some point in the future, MicroStrategy's Bitcoin can and should be valued at more than what the Bitcoin is today. And that's why MicroStrategy may have around $15 billion worth of Bitcoin, but their stock trades at a premium. I think the market cap currently is around $36 billion. And then the fact that this is possible then adds a second order effect of Saylor being able to capture that premium. So then what Saylor does is he catches that premium between the Bitcoin price and what Bitcoin will be worth in the future, because that reflects in his stock price. So just a scenario here that Glenn talks about. Consider a company with 10 shares and 10 Bitcoin in their treasury. The spot price is $2 per Bitcoin, but because the market expects it to be worth at least $4 someday, it applies a 50% discount to the future value of a company's treasury. The shares trade at $3, a 50% premium to NAV. So this is what we see in MicroStrategy. They hold $15 billion worth of Bitcoin, but their stock is worth a lot more than that, their market cap. And then here he says, spotting opportunity, the CEO creates 2 more shares and sells them at market. With that $6, he buys 3 more Bitcoin for the treasury. The company now has 12 shares and 13 Bitcoin. So now that Bitcoin to share is actually up because you have more Bitcoin than shares. You're up from 1-to-1 to 1.08-to-1. Market cap is now $36, but the treasury is $26. Premium to NAV has fallen to only 38%, but the market still values the treasury at 50% discount to future value, even though the spot price hasn't moved. The market cap bid is up to $39 because you're putting more Bitcoin on your balance sheet. And because Bitcoin is expected to go up in the future, you can see how that NAV slowly moves up. And the share price moves up right along with that. And now you can do the same thing. You can see he just gives another example here. With the premium restored, the CEO can create another 2 shares to sell, but this time he can buy 3.25 Bitcoins with the proceeds. 14 shares, 16.25 Bitcoins. The Bitcoin per share is up from 1.08 to 1.16. The market cap gets bid up to $48. The share price is now just under $3.50. So you can see how the market cap goes up as you do this. The share price goes up as you do this. And all you really need is for Bitcoin's price to stay steady or to go up just to take advantage of this. Now, obviously, if Bitcoin's price goes down, a lot of this gets thrown out the window. So you can see here, so there we have a 60% appreciation in Bitcoin a share and 60% appreciation in the share price, all without the price of spot Bitcoin changing or the premium going up above 50% to NAV. By now, you've created a monster because the price of spot Bitcoin does change. The company is taking it off the market. Supply available at $2 is dwindling. So you can see how powerful this is. A lot of people say that MicroStrategy has that unlimited money glitch with the strategies that they've implemented, and it makes a lot of sense. You can read this right here. It says MicroStrategy will be one of the biggest companies in the world, and that could happen, especially as Bitcoin price continues to go up. MicroStrategy is going to be very, very successful, and they will become a company that gets in the S&P 500. They'll get in the NASDAQ. And when that happens, that will be just additional flows going into their fund to buy more Bitcoin. So people, everyday investors or everyday workers who are investing in their 401k are going to be buying into MicroStrategy. Therefore, they're going to be owning a little bit of Bitcoin. This is one of the reasons why we say you should have MicroStrategy in your portfolio if you hold Bitcoin. Obviously, you don't get all the same effects of Bitcoin. It's not decentralized. You're not holding the asset. You can't send it to anybody. This is a security. So if Michael Saylor, something happens to him, it could cause the stock to fall, and then you're at the will of Michael Saylor making his own decisions with the company. Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's not changing. So there is more risk when investing into MicroStrategy versus Bitcoin. But you can see right here, it has outperformed Bitcoin since they've adopted the Bitcoin standard. And then in our previous video, I told you guys you should be watching out for October 4th because that's when the job numbers were coming out. You can see the United States added 254,000 jobs and unemployment dipped to 4.1%. And I thought this was going to be a very key day for Bitcoin to either go higher through October or sell off through October. And the reason why I thought this is because back when we got those July numbers in early August, we got some pretty bad job numbers. Only 114,000 jobs added, and the unemployment rate rose to 4.3%. So what did Bitcoin do after these numbers came out? That's when we had the wick down to $50,000. So that's when we had a lot of sell pressure because people were very fearful we were going into a recession. And I thought that, hey, if we got bad numbers on October 4th, we could have seen the same thing. But we got a great jobs report. You can see right here the jobs numbers, or this is the unemployment rate. It's gone down from that peak that we saw in July from 4.3% all the way down to 4.1%. And then if you're interested in where those 254,000 jobs came from, you can see that right here. Private education and health services leading the way. A lot of industries doing well. Construction with a lot of jobs there. Transportation and warehousing, they actually lost jobs. Manufacturing lost jobs. Leisure and hospitality did pretty well. Government, had 30,000 jobs. So you can see a lot of jobs coming in from that jobs report there, which is good to see. And the next key date I think we should be looking out for is the next jobs report. Inflation's coming down, guys. I don't think inflation's going to be a problem over the next year. I think we're going to continue to see inflation just slowly fall down. But we still have the potential of going into a recession if companies start to lay off folks, people start going on unemployment. The next jobs report to look out for is going to be on November 1st. So I think between October 4th and November 1st, we could be bullish for Bitcoin. We could see the ETFs really pick up flows, especially if we get a lower CPI number. We don't have a Fed meeting in October. The next Fed meeting is going to be, I think, November 7th. So we're actually going to get our next Fed meeting after the next jobs report. So we just have a long period of just kind of company earnings from the traditional side. That's what we're going to be watching out for. But it leaves Bitcoin room to really grow up in October. It's not financial advice. It's just looking at the data here. And we actually are at an all-time high here over the past 10 years, which is really good to see. So it's just really good to see that we've had more employment now than ever over the past 10 years. Another key indicator is liquidity. The M2 money supply is going up here. You can see it's slowly starting to peak up. We fell down basically since mid-2022 with monetary tightening. A lot of the M2 money supply was falling, but recently, since about February this year, we started to see a trend change on that. One thing we haven't seen yet is quantitative easing in the assets on the Federal Reserve's balance sheet. That is still being sold off. So we are in a position right now, we are in an environment where the Federal Reserve is lowering interest rates but they're also still doing quantitative tightening on the asset side. So they're still selling off their balance sheet. So this is a key chart to look at as well. If we start to see this reverse, that's going to be bullish for Bitcoin and crypto as well. Just more liquidity. People have more money to throw into the market. And then the last thing I want to show you guys, I'm sure you've seen this a million times on other people's channels, but we had a green month for September for Bitcoin. We went up 7%, actually the best September in Bitcoin's history, which is really cool to see. But every single time we've had a green September, we've had a green October. Right now we're red, but we've had a green October. And we've actually had a green Q4 every time we've had a green September. If you see 2023, we had a green September. October, November, and December were all green. Same thing back here in 2016, green September. And then the rest of Q4 was green. Same thing here in 2015. So will history repeat itself? Nobody really knows, but it's just some data to look at. Personally, I am bullish for the rest of October. Like I said, I'm waiting for that jobs report next month. And me personally, I think the jobs will be actually good when it comes out in November, but obviously you have to watch the data and change your opinion as the day comes out. So let me know what you guys thought about everything in today's video. Do you hold MicroStrategy? Are you bullish on Bitcoin and crypto right now? Let me know what you guys think about the current state of the market. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. Aaron from Bitcoin Bros. I'm out. See you guys in the next one. Have a great day.